Good morning, everyone. It is Friday morning. It's absolutely gorgeous out here. It's about 63 degrees, but our humidity is like 83%. As the temperature goes up today, the humidity should drop. So I wanted to get out here this morning and do a little bit of garden work, and I wanted to show you a couple of things. Number one, so far, the potatoes are doing well. But I'm going to try and zoom in. You see that little black bug right there? That is called a blister beetle, and they will eat your plants. You can tell their evidence by, if you're familiar with the hornworm on tomato plants, they eat the same way. But they leave their poop everywhere on your plant. Now, I did some research on these little critters, and they are highly toxic. They normally burrow into hay bales and can kill a horse. So a guy I saw on YouTube had a little bowl of soapy water, and he plucked them off, kind of knocked them off into the soapy water, killed them instantly. So I'm going to be going around with the tweezers this morning in a soapy water pail and getting rid of those suckers, because I first found them on my volunteer tomato plants over here. And my nephew a couple of weeks ago had mentioned that he thought he had the hornworms because he was seeing evidence of it look like them crawling, look like the same eating situation as you have from the hornworms. So I come out and I thought, what is all this black stuff all over my tomato plants? And then I found out it's those little boogers right there. So I'm going to go through all of my plants this morning, pluck the blister beetles off, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to spray everything with the tobacco tea that I use for my squash bugs. Spraying this one single zucchini plant daily and keeping the bugs off. Look at how gorgeous this thing is. And down inside you can see I finally have blossoms. I have ants, but I have blossoms, which means and looky there, we have a baby zucchini. Woohoo! Now I've got 10 more in the shed. I'm going to finish loading up this bed today, and I'm going to get those transferred into 4-inch pots so they can start doing their thing. And let's walk down here. I did get those 6 tomato plants out of the patio cages that I got free from Ace Hardware a couple of weeks ago, and got them transplanted. And I've got to bring a clip down to this first one because it was lobbed over in the pot that it came in, and I need to straighten it up. But you see all the new growth down here at the bottom of it. So I have those 6. And I think I'm going to go through and I'm going to spray everything with that squash bug stuff, because I don't have any evidence of those black blister beetles on these plants, and I want to keep it that way. Now this one looks pretty sad, so I'm going to clip it off, but look at the new growth right down there at the bottom. And then there's this one. I have 2 slicer tomatoes finally getting ripe. But look at these things. Look at this cluster of tomatoes. Aren't they pretty? Now remember, these are called Better Bush. And man, they are doing their thing. Another one over here. And by about Monday, if the deer don't get them, I should have a couple of nice ripe tomatoes. See, I've got the blister beetle here, you can tell, because there's their poop on the leaf. So I have blister beetles on here that are trying to eat these. I don't know why we have them. This is the first time I've ever seen them, but I'm going to chalk it up to the amount of heat we have had. I'm getting Romas. My girl Cassie over in Nebraska, take that back, in Iowa, sorry Cassie, her Romas are coming on. They look amazing. They're coming in clusters. They look almost like a cluster of grapes, but they are supposed to be Romas. So we shall see. But I'm finally getting Romas on here. And looky who's visiting us. Do you see that little guy? Let's see if we can get past here. I'm trying to get that leaf out of the way. Look at that little guy. We're going to take him up and pluck him out. We don't need a hornworm on our tomatoes. So I guess we'll be looking for those too. Funny story. My granddaughter, Adrian, my oldest granddaughter, I taught her about the tomato hornworms. When she was little, she loves to be out in the garden with me. And she had spent all summer with me, and the first thing she would do in the morning is come out and scope out the tomato vines and look for the hornworms. When she'd find them, mind you, she was 5, 6, she had no fear of those little hornworms. She'd pluck them off and drop them in the water bucket. She'd usually squish them first. So when her mom and dad came back to get the girls at the end of the summer, she brought Daddy out to show him the garden and found a tomato worm, plucked him, and she says, "Look, Dad, this is what we do with them." And she squished him. Green juice flew everywhere. I thought Jeremy was going to be sick on the spot, but she squished him and dropped him in the bucket of water and proceeded to look for more. So, yeah, it's kind of an odd memory of my granddaughter, but here's one thing to keep in mind. If you have kids, or you have grandkids, or you have nieces and nephews, get them out in the garden with you. Even if they don't do anything, but just show them where their food comes from, how much work it is for the farmers who put the food into the stores, and let them see where everything comes from, and let them learn an appreciation. They aren't going to learn if we don't teach them. And that's what we as parents, that's our job, is to teach our children. So be a mentor to a kid. Get them out in the garden, and you'll be amazed. Some kids are just loving the outdoors. If they want to be outdoors, show them how much enjoyment it is and how relaxing it can be to work in the garden. And let them start their own little garden. Let them have a place. And like I said, nieces and nephews count too, not just our grandkids and our kids. So that's my quick update video for me this morning. I will be back in a couple of weeks to update you on how we're doing on these blister bugs and if what I'm doing is working. So get out in your garden, but please remember to hydrate and stay cool.